and hello, welcome back. My name is Arianna Cruz, and today we are joined by the Crossroads of America Council. We have Leslie, Amber, and Deana, who are going to be sharing with us about how each of them are making history right now and how you can get involved, what the programming looks like, and why it's so gosh darn important to have. So, I'm going to just jump right into it because, Deana, this is huge. This is incredible. I love FIRST and I love Fearless Women, Fearless Leaders. And you have been named the first female board chair for this organization. What does that feel like?
Well, it's an amazing opportunity. And first, I should thank you for all you do to shine the spotlight on women and women leaders. Leading the Crossroads board has been a great honor, and I'm super grateful to the prior leadership for giving me this opportunity. With our full family focus that emerged a handful of years ago, it just made sense that this was the time. Now, for those of you who have been involved in scouting, you know that moms and women have been the backbone of our organization forever. I talk to a lot of Eagle Scouts like Amber, and almost every one of them, without fail, will say, you know, my dad was really involved in the program, and maybe he was our Cub master or led or volunteered, but my mom is the one that made sure I finished my Eagle and got everything done. So while this is an honor, I certainly want to acknowledge all the women who have kind of come before me in keeping the movement alive and flourishing.
That's awesome. And yes, definitely acknowledging like where we've been, where we're going. And I think a big part of why we're doing this series is because we have gotten to witness so many women before us make history and so many leaders make history. But it's really special to acknowledge like what women in our community are doing right now to continue making history. And Leslie, what has it been like for you to be on staff? And I know you've been part of this organization for so long now, and to see some of this growth and evolution and now seeing a fellow female take the reins. What has that been like?
So I'm a born and raised Hoosier. I love everything about the state of Indiana. I started this job. This is my first and only adult job and career with Crossroads of America Council, 22 years now. 22 years ago, there weren't that many females that took on this as a career. So I was one of the few around here. And quite frankly, a lot of the females from a staff perspective didn't make it. It was just really difficult to navigate the challenges that I navigated. And also, if you wanted to move up, meaning climbing the corporate ladder, we were pressured to move out, meaning moving into another state. And I loved Indiana. My family was here, my church was here, my friends were here, and I didn't want to move away. And so I have been fortunate enough to have lots of opportunities with Crossroads of America Council in different roles through the years. So I'm either a phenomenal asset to this council because I know a lot about a lot, or I'm really irritating to work with because I have something to say about every topic. It has been a phenomenal experience to see the evolution of equality and inclusivity, even from a staff perspective. But I've also been able to see it from the units and the district levels and all the kind of like layers, that we have in scouting. Deana has been a mentor to me the last several years and become a great friend to me. And so I just can't think of anyone else that I want to help rally from a career perspective than Deana at the helm.
That's awesome. And I think it's very much worth noting that you and I met at the Women in Business retreat hosted by Indy Chamber. And I think it is so crucial for organizations, businesses to allow opportunities like that and for their staff to attend those, because you get to make connections and you get to learn and grow your own development so that you can bring it back to the organization. And so I love to hear that you have gotten to climb the ladder in the way that you wanted to, in a way that works for the life you are building, and to also be able to be growing in your own career with the support of the organization. So that's amazing. Awesome. So, Amber, similarly, how has it been to see someone who looks like you take the reins and lead the organization that you've had such an experience with growing through as well? What has that been like?
So I didn't really think about it before. When I saw it on social media, I was kind of baffled. I didn't think that we didn't have a female on the board before, because I just thought, oh, that's just something that we have to have. Like, I didn't really think that it was a thing until recently, because I mean, we've had females in the program, we have females on staff, and so in my mind, I just thought that there have been female board members, and there's a couple of female board members. And I mean, I'm glad that we finally were able to take that step, because we were able to take that step with the youth, we were able to take that step on staff, but it took so long to take that step with the council and with our board members. And I'm so glad that it finally happened, because now that we took that step, it can lead us into more steps that we can take. So it kind of helps that building blocks. But I'm still surprised that that didn't happen before.
Yeah. That's awesome, and that's a great point too. I feel like your enthusiasm for the potential of where we can go from here just gave me chills. And I love that perspective. I feel like I personally hadn't even gotten to that point yet, but the way that you were kind of building it up with all these different ways that it's progressed and progressed and progressed, the sky's the freaking limit out here. And I love that you are already seeing that from your perspective before you jump into your own career. I think seeing that representation, seeing women who look like us, who that we can relate to in these positions of decision making is so incredible, and it's so impactful. And Deana, I hope that you feel some of this as well, because I mean, that is your influence. That is everything that you've been working towards as you've grown in your career and now grown through the board to this position. This is the impact that you are having, and I think that that is so amazing that you are getting to hear it firsthand, that you are being believed in on the grassroots level of those that you are serving, and you are already inspiring young minds of what can be.
Yeah, it's really awesome to talk to the young women that are in the program. We've had women involved in the board for decades, but certainly kind of taking the helm as the board chair, it's an really important signal, I think, for the organization, for our members, and for those who are so passionate about scouting in our volunteer community. So it's really fun to see these young women, take this on and raise their hands, frankly, and say, I want to be an Eagle Scout, and I'm gonna move really quickly to get that done as soon as the program became available to them. I mean, we had a lot of hand raisers really quickly.
That's awesome. Okay, she is out again. I am going to keep going. I'm going to ask your guys' question.
Okay.
And then as soon as I see her back in, I will pop her in, and I will probably pivot to ask her question for as long as I can get her
Okay. While we have her.
Okay. So you talk about as soon as that door opened, hands shot up and people were taking advantage of it. And we've talked a little bit about how as programming has become more accessible, and maybe Leslie, you can touch on how long that door was open and then what final door was open a little bit to give some of that context. But I would love to dive into the accessibility for families, to get the whole family involved, and what that's looked like and what that's done for programming.
Yeah, a lot of people were shocked The general public, I think, was surprised in 2018 when we invited elementary girls to
Mhm.
join our Cub Scout program. And then in early 2019, we invited the older girls, middle school to high school girls, to join scouting. What's interesting about that, just to give you a little background, is scouting has had lots of programs. We have more programs and we serve more age groups in different ways than what the general public realizes. And in the majority of our programs, not the biggest ones, but the majority number of our programs, we had females in them from those programs' inception. We're
Mhm.
talking like back to the 1970s. So Deana mentioned earlier that den moms, den mothers have been den leaders and leading unit level programming forever, but our programs have been serving girls, females for decades.
Mhm.
Um, I will say now I'm proud to say that even in the last few years, so this is a short time that all of our programs have been inclusive of girls, and we call that serving the full family.
Mhm.
We are serving approximately 5,000 females in all of our scouting programs in the 26 county territory that scouting serves here in central Indiana. I'm so very, very proud of that. And why did we invite girls to join all of our programs? It's probably not for the reasons that you think and for the reasons that have been rumored that our organization invited girls to join. It's simply because families asked for it.
Mhm.
I have national surveys to prove this.
Mhm.
Families nowadays are very, very busy.
Mhm.
I think about kind of the pace of life when I was young, and I was involved in things too when I was young. Arianna, you probably were too. Deana, I know you were too. But it just seems like families nowadays can't catch a breath. Um, and so if you are a single parent and you've got multiple kids and you're trying to raise them with meaningful after school opportunities, sports clubs and that sort of thing, it's really difficult with a lot of adults nowadays working in the service industries where you feel like because of technology, we have to be accessible all the time and our
Mhm.
jobs never end. It's not a clock in, clock out kind of society nowadays. Where in the world am I going to find people to help me get my kids to all of their sports practices and club, meetings and everything?
Right.
And so families asked us, can we have the full family scouting program so that we can hit one-stop shop at the local, church or community center or wherever and do scouting together as a family? Clearly, it is working because our national organization says that right now, if approximately 10% of your registered youth are female, you're doing great. Central Indiana, we've been hovering between 23 and 28% of our registered youth are females. And so we're doing something right and we're responding to what females and families are wanting today.
Yeah, that's amazing, and it's so not funny, but kind of funny. My mother-in-law loves to go down memory lane a lot, and she talked about that she was in Scouts and that she loves creeking, she loves the outdoors, and she talked about how much she learned during that time. And so it is, like you said, people don't know what they don't know, and a lot of programming has been accessible from their inception. And I appreciate how much we've seen organizations evolve as family needs have evolved and time has allowed, restricted, and however way you want to look at that. But I think that that's incredible because, like you said, it's making it easier for people to do it. And especially families that have more than one child, you don't want anyone to feel like they're getting gypped because the older brother has to be somewhere else at the same time that they want to go do something. So when we talked about this on the phone, I loved hearing it because it's really about who you're serving and you're serving them to a fuller capacity now. Amber, I'm going to turn it back over to you as we talk about programming because I'd love to hear what was a pivotal moment for you during your experience with this organization.
Um, I feel like all of it was kind of pivotal. Like I've been involved in scouting since I was probably 5. My brother was in Scouts, my dad was in Scouts, and so I was like, I tagged along. I did everything with my brother. I beat him and all of the other guys in fire building competitions. Um, but I never got any of the credit, and I didn't want the credit. That's not something I wanted. I just wanted to be equal. I wanted it to be the same. And I mean, I always told my brother and his friends, I was like, I'm gonna be an Eagle Scout. And so when I got home from school and my dad told me that I can join, I was ecstatic. I loved it. Um, and then I became active, and there was a because of my age, there was a minimal time frame for me to be able to get Eagle. And so I was just like, I don't want to get Eagle. And then I spent a week camping, no technology, just no nothing. And I went camping with some of my friends. And on the way back, my dad sat me down. Well, I guess we were driving, so we were sitting down, but um, we were sat down and he kind of just went over everything that we have to do to get me to Eagle. And I was just like, okay, fine, I'll do it. And I mean, ever since then, I kind of have thought to myself, I'm so happy that I made it to that moment. And I wish somebody had told me what I tell all of the scouts that tell me that they don't want to get Eagle. And I always tell them, I was like, why not? Give me 5 reasons why you don't want to get Eagle, and then I'll accept you not trying. But until then, you have to at least try. And I mean, I guess just like it's it's all changed me just because the people that I've met, the family that I've created. I mean, I've grown full organizations with the families that I've created. Like it's outstanding. And I mean, I by far would not be here, would not be who I am without the people and the program and the family and just like everything that I've learned. So there's not one specific moment that I mean, I felt that I changed. There's not one specific moment where it's just different than all the others because they're all really amazing.
No, that's beautifully said, and I love how much you've gotten to not only challenge yourself, but then challenge others of like, why not reach for something greater? Why not reach for something bigger than you? And I love that you make it like a conversation too. That's so impressive. And I am so in awe of you already. I mean, my last question, and I feel like we're seeing this already. I want to know what all of you think, but how does the programming offered create and support these future communities and community leaders? I mean, I feel like Amber is a testament to that right now. But Amber, if you'd like to answer as well, I welcome you to do so. But I'd love to hear a little bit about how what you're learning and what you're practicing is helping to build our future communities.
So, I mean, it's it's changing the way that people outlook things. It's the way that they look onto things. And I mean, I've always wanted to be a teacher. Um, but working on summer camp staff and mentoring other individuals, it made me know for a fact I am going to be a teacher. I know what ages I want to teach because of this experience. And I mean, I have friends that they did the engineering merit badge and now they want to be an engineer. They absolutely love it. And these merit badges that they teach, it kind of helps you like see what you want to do, and it makes people want to reach higher, what makes people want to do better. And I mean, when you go through the process of being an Eagle Scout, you have a really hard time, but you see the community that you have around you. And I think a lot of people can use that as their benefit for in the future. I mean, when I am able to do all of these things in the future, I can think to myself, oh, I need somebody that can do this. I need somebody to come and talk to my students about this really cool thing. I know exactly who to call because of the community that's built. And I can go and I can use that to my advantage. I can use that to my students' advantage. And it's just going to make everything so much stronger because of this amazing community that's just grown right here.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. I'd love to also share that question with Leslie and Deana as well.
I think scouting's impact in our community really has everything to do with the quality of the society. If you think about how scouting shapes a person, a family unit, a community, the state, now you're talking about infiltrating a community or a family with individuals who don't just make decisions, but they make ethical decisions. I mean, do I want neighbors or colleagues or friends that are ethical decision makers or just decision makers?
Mm-hmm.
It can make a big difference in a small unit, or when you think about kind of the quality of our state, you think about elected officials or CEOs that are running companies. If you find out that large companies or elected officials were scouts as a youth, I kind of think, whew, these are people that aren't afraid to lead.
Mm-hmm.
They have a positive opinion about servant leadership. They aren't afraid to push up their sleeves and do the hard work to get to somewhere better. So I think scouting's impact is really helping individuals and communities understand the code of conduct in which we should behave. And it just simply benefits everyone.
Yeah, very well said.
One of the things that I love the most about scouting is that we know that it can work anywhere. I grew up in a super rural community, a very poor, challenged community in several regards. And knowing the leadership program that comes along with scouting and the exposure to whether it's a career or it's an outdoor adventure or anything in between, just makes me really happy for any kid who can have an interaction with the program, whether it's an after school experience or they are in the program for a longer amount of time. I also grew up in an entrepreneurial family, so I love that we teach kids about popcorn sales, but we're also asking them to run the programming. I mean, one of the coolest things that happens in scouting that I don't think gets enough celebration is that the kids are leading the program, right? They are running the meetings every week. They are planning for the campouts and figuring out everything from what they need to what they're going to eat and preparing the food. And they're doing this much younger than I think a lot of families expect a kiddo to be able to take that role. And we're also practicing equality every single day in those scouting units. So we are very focused on ensuring that every kid is welcome.
I love that. That's awesome. And I feel like I'm learning so much too about the programming and about what's being instilled and what's being exemplified by leadership on staff, on board, from the den mothers all the way down to the kids leading one another. I think that that's incredible. And to hear about how Amber, it's like shifted your mindset and it's shifted the way that you communicate with people and view life and view your network and how you can work together in these amazing magnifying ways to grow your communities around you. And it's such a beautiful holistic view. And I love that there's a space where we as humans can start expanding our mind in that way at such a young age. So so many kudos and bravos to all three of you and all those that I know are with you in it and behind you. So thank you so much for sharing so honestly and openly. It means the world. Awesome. Okay. Well, we are going to get ready to dig deeper. And so if you enjoyed this interview, we would love for you to join us over on our Patreon where you can dig deeper with us. And Leslie, might you share the best way for people to keep up or get in touch with you and the gang?
Yeah, I'm going to list 2 websites, so jot this down. If you're curious about learning more about our organization in Central Indiana and or you're interested in taking a look at what it takes to register and become an official member of our organization, our local website is www.crossroadsbsa.org. That's crossroadsbsa.org. If you're interested in taking a look at what it takes to become a member, to join, or you'd like to understand what type of scouting units are down the road from you or how close they are, or if there are co-ed units or single gender units, you can find all of that at joinscoutsin.org. Again, that's joinscoutsin for Indiana.org.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And we will see you all next time.